So today I will be reviewing Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's 2009's Halloween 2. Now, I know this one is, I really want to say hate it. Even though people say this is the most hated, I think Resurrection is the most hated. With Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, for me, it's always I have a weird relationship with this movie because I've always stand by and said I'm not I'm not defending it. I'm not defending this movie. But I've always said there's something there with this movie. And no one's asked Rob, like, what was his original intent for this movie? If you don't know what I'm talking about, stay tuned for the video. So, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, depending on which version you watch, there's two versions of this movie. Depending on which version you watch, it's either 1 or 2 years later. Point being is, Laurie is a very different Laurie Strode that we've ever seen before in this. And I kind of like, dealing with Laurie's, mind. I don't know, I just kind of like that. But I want to talk about the pros of Halloween 2's Rob Zombie. Love the dream sequence. That's the best part of this. That's the first best part about this movie is the dream sequence. Love the dream sequence when Myers stabbing that nurse. People hate that Myers grunts. I don't mind that Myers grunts. It just adds something extra to Tyler Mane's Michael. I don't mind that he grunts. But he's stabbing this woman probably 30, 50 times, stabbing this woman to death. Again, I like that scene. Gory, it's brutal, gets the point across of what Michael is. And it's disappointing that it is a dream sequence. That whole scene seems like it could have been the ending of the movie, or like the middle of the movie. So that's one of the pros. I like the mask in this. Even when half of his mask tears off, I still like the mask. The whole hobo look, like the vest and the scarf. Don't mind it because, again, kind of realistic. Because if it's cold, don't you think Michael will bundle up if it's cold? Always defended that look. I like Myers' knife in this. There are some cool shots, some cool cinematography. But I think part one was, it had the better cinematography. I think there was a budget constraint with this movie. I do say that. I do feel like there was like a budget constraint with this movie. And so yeah, there's a lot of pros that may actually surprise people. I do like this movie. To an extent, I like this movie. Is it perfect? No. I love Brad Dourif's performance, the voice of Chucky. He's in this. Love Danielle Harris in this. Love Scout Tyler Compton. I'll probably always butcher her name, but I love her performance as Laurie. Love her performance as Laurie. I think she does a very good job as Laurie. Love that emotional scene when Brad finds Annie. I love that scene, where Sheriff Brackett finds Annie. I think that's a very emotional and touching scene. I think, that no one really talks about, like, how emotional this movie can get at times. Like, this movie can get pretty deep, in my opinion. Like, this movie can get pretty deep at times. This movie can get pretty deep at times, and, like, that scene in particular. And there's just a lot more pros, that I may talk about in my, ranking. Oh, and off topic for a minute, I will be doing a commentary on the original ending and giving my full thoughts on that. Stay tuned for that. Some of the cons. I don't like that there's no score. Yes, there's small cues here and there from the original, but where's the score? I do think Rob intended putting his score in this movie, but I guess they didn't have the budget. I guess there was a budget constraint. I don't know why there wasn't no score in this. I think it's kind of odd when they can just easily, got the same composer from the original. I guess they didn't have the budget to do that. So that was a little odd that there was no score. Again, yeah, there were small cues, but barely any score. That's a big problem. The whole beard on Michael. I don't mind the beard. Kind of makes sense for Michael to have a beard because I don't think he's going to go out and clean shave himself. But here's the thing that really bothers me, but it don't at the same time, but then it kind of does. is Michael barely wears the mask in this movie. It's like, what is the point of Michael even having the mask? Again, I've really thought about this. If Tyler Mane, was getting really hot, because of the beard and he had the mask on, if he was getting really hot, I understand. If you guys don't know why Tyler had the beard, it's because he was prepping for another role. But again, Tyler seemed like he wanted to cut it because it was Rob's ideal to keep the beard. So I really don't know who, I don't know, but again, does the beard bother me? No, but having no mask, that kind of bothers me. Like, what is the point of Michael having the mask if he's not even going to wear the thing? Makes no sense. Like, it just makes no sense to me. Why he takes it off, puts it back on. Again, I understand if behind the scenes, if Tyler Mane was getting really hot under the mask, that I completely understand, because I can imagine wearing that mask all day, having the beard. I can imagine that. I can really imagine that. But again, that was a real beard, and Tyler seemed like he was willing to shave it or at least trim it, but Rob was like, keep it. I don't know. The whole scene where Michael talks, don't like it, not needed. This movie is very grainy. Like, I never noticed this before, but this movie is super grainy. It looks super low budget. Again, there's nothing wrong with low budget movies, but this looks super low budget. It looks like there was no budget given to this movie, but like a little penny. Like, here you go. Make something. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it seems like, Dimension gave Rob in this. And there's a lot of filler scenes. There's a lot of unnecessary dialogue, a lot of unnecessary scenes. Me personally, I don't think Rob Zombie got to sit with this script and sit with the film that he made, because a lot of people don't know this. And I've talked about it before here on the channel, and that's one reason why I say, what were some of his decisions in this movie? What was not? If I ever got the chance to talk to Rob Zombie, one of my questions would be, how much control did you have on Halloween 2? And nothing against Rob Zombie, but there's stuff in this movie that I look at and like, that's not even something that Rob Zombie would do. Like, there's like jump scares where Laurie go, ah, like that, like in a dream sequence, like Laurie will go, bah. If you know the scene I'm talking about, like Laurie's like in a coffin, it's just a jump scare. That doesn't seem like something Rob would do. And there are scenes like that where you're like, Rob wouldn't do that. Like, Rob wouldn't put it in the movie. And again, there's a lot of filler scenes, a lot of unnecessary scenes that have been cut. I don't think Rob and the editor of this movie got to sit with this movie. And I don't think Rob got time to write the script. Again, like I said, a lot of people don't know that this movie was rushed into production. And you could tell towards the half of the movie where it starts to get a lot more unnecessary dialogue, a lot of unnecessary scenes that just drag on. You see Michael walking in the field. I never understood why he's just walking in the field now. A lot of people don't know Rob Zombie never intended to make a sequel. He never intended. Again, and two, a lot of people don't know this. A lot of people think he wrote the script for Halloween 3D. No, he didn't. He did not write the script for Halloween 3D. They was going to continue with this. But Scott Tyler Compton didn't want to return because she saw that it wasn't from Loving Hands, and Tyler Mane felt the same way. So Rob Zombie didn't even want to do this movie. He was forced to do this movie. He was forced to do this movie because he didn't want no one else to touch his vision and his work. They was going to bring a whole nother director in, because they wanted this movie done immediately and fast and quick. They was trying to push this movie hard as they could on Rob. And I even heard things that they, even though Rob Zombie was, the main director, they still brought another person on. Which again, makes you think, if they really did bring somebody else on, they probably had a heavy hand on things as well. And Rob Zombie's always been very outspoken, especially now, about his experiences on these first two Halloween movies. And you kind of got to feel bad for the guy, because You know, I feel like he had good intentions. Like he had good intentions to make a good Halloween sequel, but he didn't get to make, what he wanted to make, and that's my personal opinion. Some more cons, with this movie, I don't like, this white horse, Michael's mom showing up. It feels too Friday the 13th ish to me. Like when, Michael kills somebody, oh, here's Michael's mom. To me, it feels too much like Friday the 13th, with Pamela, like, sometimes, like, like in the Friday the 13th movies, you would hear like Pamela and Jason's ear, and you would hear her sometimes, like in Freddy vs. Jason, like that's a good example, or some other ones. But point being, that's what it kind of seemed like to me. Like it was just, instead of Michael, it was Jason's. I didn't really like that, like Michael being controlled by his mother, and the only reason why he's killing is because of his mother. Oh, is Michael human now? Is he good to go? Like, I don't like that. There's also a theory that Michael never killed anybody in this, and he was all a big hallucination, and Laurie's the one who did all the killings. How do you feel about that theory? I mean, it sounds cool on paper, but if that theory is real, and I don't know. There's a few more cons in this movie. Again, unnecessary scenes. I don't feel like Rob got to make the movie he wanted to make. I really feel like that. And this is a very controversial topic. I want a Rob Zombie Halloween 3. I said it. I know Laurie died. I mean, again, there's two different versions, but I feel like you could have, Laurie get, you can make a Halloween 3 Rob Zombie. Have Laurie, die, go with the original cut. Laurie died, and just move on from that. Again, if Rob Zombie took away the, the white horse, all of that, you can have a Halloween 3 Rob Zombie. I know that's super controversial, but I feel like if Rob Zombie listens to his fans, which most of the time he just, just makes his movie and really doesn't listen to, people. If he actually listens to the people, he can make a good Halloween movie. Again, that's like that I'm going to discuss in this video I have, coming up. What Rob Zombie, would he willing, would he do another Halloween movie? I would put a maybe on that. I will put a maybe on that. I will put a maybe. Big maybe, in fact. But, another big con for me is Dr. Loomis in this. I feel like I really feel like a strong thing Rob Zombie rewrote Dr. Loomis in this. Because Dr. Loomis, would never act like this. Like, the Dr. Loomis that Rob Zombie set up and the, Donald Pleasence's Dr. Loomis would never, ever in a million years act like this. And now he's acting like, I'm not a fan of that. So, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, is it perfect? No. But I do enjoy it for what it is, and I think it's, it can be a fun Halloween movie. I think, for the most part of this movie, you kind of have to not look at it as a Halloween movie, but almost look at it as a slasher, and not so much a Halloween movie. That's my opinion. Don't look too deep into it. Just kind of go in for it as a slasher. I'm, going to talk more about this movie, in my ranking, because I have so many opinions on this movie. I don't defend it, but I stand by and say there was a good movie somewhere in this movie that we got. Again, just watch that hospital scene, and you will see like Myers walking down the stairs and the way that shot. Rob had something. I feel like he really had something, and I would love to talk, and that's the thing I would really love to ask Rob. Would he have set Halloween on the same night, set it in the hospital, but obviously change things up so it's not like a copy and paste? Maybe focus more on Brackett and Loomis in the town. what if he had, would he have did that? Like, I would love to ask him that. Like, would he have did that? Because the dream sequence is the best part of the whole movie, and I would not be afraid to say that to him. The best part of the movie was the dream sequence. I would not be afraid to ask him that. You know, and again, some people don't know he was never, he was never really going to do a sequel. But again, people don't know this, but he offered them a sequel and a prequel. We're talking about, like, he offered them a sequel and a prequel. They turned him down. He wanted to know from the get-go, because he doesn't like to do sequels that often. So he wanted to know, he understood this is a big franchise, so he kind of knew, right before filming Halloween 2007, did they want a sequel? They told him, no, we don't want a sequel. We don't want a sequel. They should have known what the box office numbers was going to do. When Halloween 2007 came out, they saw the box office numbers. They approached him about a sequel. He said no, but then he was forced into it. So let that really sink in, like, how that must suck, for a director. You offer a studio up something. You offer them two things, a movie and a prequel, to build on the universe. You offer them two things. And he would probably have did a fourth one. He probably would have did a direct sequel to Halloween 2 as well, if his experiences was better, and if he got what he wanted out of the deal, which he didn't get what he wanted out of the deal in the first place. That's what he wanted to do, but he didn't get to do it. I think people really overlook that and just hate on this movie without going too deep into it. He never got to do what he wanted to do. Think about, like, think about being in his shoes in 2006. When this was in production, he got the job to do a Halloween movie. Dream come true probably for him, right? You get this job, you offer them up two things, they tell you no. When the studio at the time, Dimension Films, should have known that this was going to be a big success. Right after, Rob thought they was never going to make a sequel, yada yada yada. He didn't think it was going to make a sequel because, again, he offered them something. It comes out, they announce a sequel, he's forced into it. Seems like a bad gig if you do ask me, because, again, you forced into something you didn't even want to do in the first place. Again, but I feel like there is two sides of the coin at the same time. It's like, I do feel like, he should have offered them a deal, like a new contract, and that contract being he would step down as director only if he would be a heavy producer, have a heavy involvement in it, and get to pick the director. I think, me personally, that's what he should have did, in my opinion, was if he didn't want to do it, just make a deal with them. And I think they would have accepted that deal, me personally. Say he would have to write the script, be a producer, be a heavy involvement in it. He would have to take his time with the script, and he would have to find the director. He would have to pick the director, not them. I think they would have picked. I think they would have taken that deal. Me personally, but yeah, Halloween 2, Rob Zombie. I think the movie's alright. It's decent. I would give a solid 8 out of 8. I know that may be controversial, but I do enjoy parts of this movie. I think it's entertaining. It can be fun in moments. I just wish they didn't treat Dr. Loomis like that. I just wish he had a score. I wish Michael had his mask on for the most part, but again, that is a nitpick thing. Again, there's so much there. I do feel like, it probably was hot for Tyler, but I also feel like Tyler was willing to shave it, and, Rob, basically said no to him, so I feel like there's that. But yeah, I do love parts of this movie. Tyler Mane, love his Michael, brutal, vicious. I love that style of Michael, but still have that, that stalkness into him, if that's even a word. But yeah, Halloween 2, Rob Zombies, 2009. Let's have a discussion in the comments below. What do you think of this movie? Do you enjoy it? Do you hate it? If you're a person that hates this movie, please give it a second chance and look behind the scenes of this movie. Go back to my older videos and find older videos where I talk about the behind the scenes drama. I may make a full video on like the whole like a 20-something minute video talking about all the drama surrounding these two films, because a lot of people don't know it. They just go straight to jumping hating on this movie and hating on what Rob was going to do, but I don't think he got to do it. But yeah, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2? Let's have a whole discussion about this movie. I will catch you guys in the next video.